Standing before the gathered representatives of every major power in the galaxy, the ambassador of Earth surveyed the assembly with a stoic gaze. His face was a mask of impassiveness as the aliens sat nervously before him, some unable to meet his eyes for more than a few seconds while others glared with open hostility. Clearing his throat, the alien at the center of the long table stood and began. "Greetings, Ambassador. We are honored to have you here with us on this momentous day when the Terran Empire joins our union of civilizations." The human ambassador remained silent, his gaze unwavering. The chairman of the union shifted uncomfortably under the human's intense scrutiny before holding up a document. "Now that we have finished negotiating the terms of the treaty, all that's left is for it to be ratified by each member of the union. It would be my honor to be the first to welcome your mighty empire on behalf of the Raxum Dominion," he said as he made his mark, followed by the official sigil of the empire he represented. The document was passed down the table, with other ambassadors following suit. Some made brief, half-hearted remarks as they signed, while others simply scrawled their assent before shoving the document away in distaste. It finally ended up in front of a reptilian alien who let out a snarl and threw the document onto the floor. "How can we even think of allowing these barbarians to stand amongst us as equals?" "Peace, my friend," the chairman said placatingly. "We have already agreed." "You agreed," the reptilian alien interrupted, casting an accusing gaze over the other diplomats. "But none of you suffered at the hands of these savages as we have. 24 nursery planets gone, reduced to ash and cinders, rendered uninhabitable by their war machines. You attacked Earth," the human ambassador replied simply. "A few 100,000 humans dead at most," the Serpentid sneered. "You wiped out entire generations of my kind, entire broods culled before they even hatched. Never have such acts of barbarism been committed before you left that tiny rock you call home." He pointed a clawed finger at the ambassador. "You up-jumped apes commit atrocities and expect us to welcome you with open arms? You demand that we follow these rules of war that you are so proud of but cast off the moment they become inconvenient for you to follow. Under your own laws, you'd be considered war criminals for what you did. You attacked Earth," the human ambassador repeated, his voice carrying a hard edge that silenced the irate alien. He stepped toward him in a slow, deliberate pace, standing inches away and staring into his reptilian eyes. "We have only been a spacefaring race for barely 3 centuries, our colonies extending to a small corner of this galaxy. When we first met you, we extended a hand of peace, and you spat in our face. You attacked Earth." He leaned forward, pressing his knuckles against the table, forcing the alien to take a step back and stumble against his chair. "Before we encountered you, we were still divided, countries and companies warring over who got the rights to any and every exploitable planet. And then you attacked Earth. All of a sudden, we had a common enemy, and all our tribalism became pointless. We no longer fought amongst ourselves, not when we had you to fight against." Bending down to pick up the treaty, the ambassador slammed it back down on the table, making all the delegates flinch and recoil. "Do you know why we have these rules of war? Our species is built on a history of bloodshed. Every single one of these rules is in place to stop us from repeating that history. We have committed genocide against our own kind, enslaved each other, warred with each other, slaughtered each other, tortured, maimed, and killed each other. We have these rules because, without them, we would have annihilated ourselves before we even left Earth. But these rules are there to protect us from ourselves. There were never any provisions about how we could act toward a hostile alien force that attacked our homeworld." His voice seethed with barely contained anger, making the Serpentid's blood run cold. Standing up straight, he continued, "So now you have the entire, unified human race outraged at this unprovoked attack against our home, directing all their anger at your union of civilizations with absolutely no rules holding us back. Except for this." He pushed the treaty toward the trembling alien. "This treaty binds us all to the same restraints that we humans have self-imposed. So I suggest you sign the damn treaty, or you'll find out just why we humans need so many rules." Unable to bear the heavy gaze, the Serpentoid turned away and meekly signed the document. "Good," the human ambassador said, taking the treaty and tucking it under his arm. "It seems my business here is concluded. Good day to you, gentlemen." He turned and promptly left the room. As soon as the door closed behind him, the remaining diplomats let out the breath they had all been holding. "What a ghastly species," one commented. "We should never have agreed to letting them join us. The combined might of our union would undoubtedly crush the Terran Empire." "Yes," the chairman agreed, "but at an unpalatable cost. They burn scores of planets in retribution for not even 1/10 of a million dead humans. Imagine what they would do if pushed into a corner. No, it is safer to bind these savages to us, try to civilize them if not outright tame them. They are rabid beasts." The serpentoid spat. "There is no taming them. Mark my words, these humans will spread like a pestilence through the galaxy until they are too strong for us to put down. We should act now before they turn on us." Glaring angrily at the serpentoid, the chairman said, "Then why did you sign the treaty if you are so against them joining us?" Giving him a sullen look, the serpentoid said, "It'll take decades, if not centuries, to recover from the loss of our nursery planets. We are not in a position to fight against such a savage species. And neither are any of us." The chairman huffed. "Fighting with these humans will irrevocably weaken the Union. So I suggest you all get used to the Terran Empire. I doubt they shall be keeping to themselves." As the discussions continued behind closed doors, the human ambassador walked briskly through the corridors of the Union's Grand Council building, his mind racing. He knew the sentiment among the delegates was mixed at best, and outright hostile at worst. The humans had forced their way into the galactic stage, not with diplomacy, but with fire and fury. And now, they had to find a way to coexist. He entered a small, unassuming room where his aide, Lieutenant Maria Sanchez, was waiting. "How did it go?" she asked, her eyes filled with concern. "As expected," he replied, handing her the signed treaty. "Most of them signed reluctantly, and a few, like the Raxan, were openly hostile. But in the end, they all signed." Maria took the document, glancing over the signatures. "Do you think they'll honor it?" The ambassador, named John Edward, sighed deeply. "They will, because they have no choice. They've seen what we're capable of, and they fear us. But fear is not a sustainable foundation for peace. We have to prove that we can be more than just warriors." Maria nodded thoughtfully. "What's our next move?" "Establishing embassies on key worlds, initiating cultural exchanges, and setting up joint scientific ventures," Edward said. "We need to show them that we're here to contribute to the Union, not just to take from it." Over the following months, the Terran Empire began to integrate into the Union of Civilizations. Human embassies were established on various worlds, staffed with diplomats, scientists, and cultural ambassadors. Joint ventures in technology and science were launched, and cultural exchange programs were set up to foster understanding between humans and the myriad species of the Union. Despite initial resistance, the human efforts began to bear fruit. On the planet Zixer, a joint human Zixeran research station was established to study the unique geothermal properties of the planet's molten core. The project was a success, leading to breakthroughs in energy production that benefited both species. On the lush world of Merid, human agricultural experts worked alongside Meridian botanists to develop new crops that could thrive in diverse environments. This collaboration not only increased food production but also helped alleviate hunger in several Union member states. Cultural exchanges also played a crucial role in bridging the gap between humans and other species. Human musicians, artists, and writers shared their works with the galaxy, while alien artists showcased their unique talents on Earth. These exchanges fostered a sense of mutual respect and admiration, slowly breaking down the barriers of mistrust. However, not all encounters were smooth. On the industrial planet of Drakkar, a mining dispute between human workers and Drakkaran miners nearly escalated into violence. The Drakkarans, a fiercely territorial species, were suspicious of human intentions and resented their presence. It took weeks of delicate negotiations, led by Edward himself, to reach a compromise that satisfied both parties. Back on Earth, the effects of joining the Union were felt deeply. The planet's cities became bustling hubs of interstellar commerce and culture. Alien visitors marveled at human ingenuity and resilience, while humans were fascinated by the vast diversity of life that had now become a part of their daily existence. In the capital city of New Geneva, the Terran Council convened to discuss the future of humanity's role in the Union. President Eleanor Weiss, a seasoned diplomat, presided over the meeting. "We have made significant strides in integrating with the Union," she said. "But we must remain vigilant and proactive. Our presence is still met with suspicion by many, and we need to demonstrate our commitment to peace and cooperation." "Madam President," Edward interjected, "I believe we should focus on expanding our humanitarian efforts. There are many worlds in the Union that are struggling with poverty, disease, and environmental degradation. We have the resources and expertise to help." Weiss nodded thoughtfully. "Agreed. Let's allocate more funding to these initiatives and ensure that our efforts are highly visible. We need to show the galaxy that humanity is a force for good." Meanwhile, on the distant world of Xander, a new threat was emerging. The Xandorians, a warlike species with a history of conquest, had been watching the rise of the Terran Empire with growing concern. Their leader, Supreme Warlord Krozak, saw the Union's acceptance of humanity as a direct threat to his ambitions. "We cannot allow these humans to gain a foothold in our sector," Krozak declared to his council. "They are a dangerous and unpredictable species. We must prepare for war." As tensions simmered, Edward received word of the Xandorian threat. He knew that any conflict with the Xandorians could destabilize the fragile peace within the Union. He quickly arranged a meeting with President Weiss to discuss the situation. "We cannot afford another war," Edward said urgently. "The Xandorians are formidable, and a conflict with them would be devastating for both sides. We need to find a diplomatic solution." Weiss agreed. "We'll send a delegation to Xander to negotiate. You should lead it, John. You've proven yourself to be a skilled diplomat, and your presence might deter them from taking aggressive action." Edward prepared for the mission. Accompanied by a small team of diplomats and security personnel, he traveled to Xander, hoping to avert disaster. Upon arrival, the delegation was met with hostility. Xandorian soldiers eyed them suspiciously, and the atmosphere was tense. Edward and his team were escorted to a grand hall where Warlord Krozak awaited them. "Welcome to Xander," Krozak said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "What brings you to our world, human?" Edward remained calm and composed. "We come in peace, Warlord Krozak. The Terran Empire seeks to build a lasting alliance with the Xandorian people. We believe that cooperation is more beneficial than conflict." Krozak sneered. "Cooperation? Your kind knows nothing of our ways. We are warriors born and bred for battle. Why should we ally with you?" "Because war is costly, Warlord," Edward replied. "Both in lives and resources. Your people have suffered enough. Let us find common ground and work together for a better future." The negotiations were long and arduous, but Edward's persistence began to wear down Krozak's resistance. He presented compelling arguments for economic and technological cooperation, emphasizing the mutual benefits of peace. Slowly but surely, the Xandorian leader's stance softened. After several days of intense discussions, Krozak finally relented. "Very well, Ambassador Edward. I will consider your proposal. But know this, we will not be subjugated. The Xandorians will remain strong and independent." "I wouldn't have it any other way," Edward replied with a respectful nod. "We seek allies, not subjects. Together, we can achieve greatness." As the delegation departed Xander, Edward felt a sense of relief. The threat of war had been averted, at least for now. But he knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Humanity's place in the galaxy was still uncertain, and the journey toward true acceptance would be long and difficult. Back on Earth, Edward briefed President Weiss on the successful negotiations. "We've bought ourselves some time," he said. "But we need to continue building alliances and proving our worth to the Union. The Xandorians are not the only ones who view us with suspicion." Weiss nodded. "Agreed. We'll ramp up our diplomatic efforts and strengthen our humanitarian initiatives." The galaxy needs to see that humanity is committed to peace and cooperation. In the years that followed, the Terran Empire continued to solidify its place within the Union of Civilizations. Diplomatic efforts bore fruit, and humanity's reputation slowly transformed from that of a feared and dangerous newcomer to a respected and valuable member of the galactic community. On the planet Arcturus Prime, a joint human-Arcturian medical research center was established, leading to breakthroughs in curing previously incurable diseases. On the ocean world of Thalassa, human engineers collaborated with Thalassan scientists to develop advanced underwater habitats, allowing both species to explore the depths of their planet. Cultural exchanges flourished, with human art, music, and literature becoming highly regarded across the galaxy. Alien cultures, in turn, left their mark on Earth, enriching human society in ways previously unimaginable. Despite these successes, challenges remained. There were still those within the Union who distrusted humanity, and occasional skirmishes tested the fragile peace. But the foundations of cooperation and mutual respect had been laid, and the future looked brighter than ever before. As Ambassador John Edward stood on the balcony of the Terran Embassy on the Union's capital world, he reflected on the journey humanity had taken. From a divided and war-torn planet to a unified and respected member of the galactic community, the transformation had been nothing short of remarkable. "Ambassador," Maria Sanchez said, approaching him, "the Council is ready for your address." Edward nodded, taking a deep breath. "Thank you, Maria. Let's show them what humanity is truly capable of." As he stepped into the grand hall, filled with representatives from every corner of the galaxy, Edward felt a sense of pride and determination. The path ahead was still uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity had found its place among the stars, and nothing would ever be the same again. "Honored delegates," Edward began, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We stand here today, united in our diversity, committed to a future of peace and cooperation. Together, we can overcome any challenge, and build a galaxy where all species can thrive." The applause that followed was thunderous, a testament to the progress that had been made. As Edward looked out at the sea of faces, human and alien alike, he knew that the journey was far from over. But with determination, empathy, and unwavering resolve, humanity would continue to reach for the stars, forging a path toward a brighter future for all. Hey there! Did you know that 99% of our viewers aren't subscribed? If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button to be the first to know when new videos drop.